These palm leaves that you see in front of you are a very special type of palm. It's called a Lala palm, and it's one of the reasons that we have an incredibly special bird on and beyond Plinda Private Game Reserve, and it's called a lemon-breasted canary. Now, the canary that I stopped and looked at was actually a yellow-fronted canary, so it was just by coincidence that it was near these Lala palms. But the reason we get the lemon-breasted canary is because of these little Lala palms. They actually make their nests in the folds of these palm leaves. And it's really interesting nesting behavior. You know, you get a whole lot of variety of nesting behavior. You know, the kingfisher family that Lauren was talking about, a lot of them make their nests in embankments, sand embankments. You get a lot of different birds that use grass and things, make their nests up in thorn trees. You know, the thorns providing some protection for their very delicate nests. You get nests that actually aren't nests at all. They just lay there. Some birds, especially, you know, the lapwing family sort of thing, they'll lay their eggs out in the open and rely on the eggs sort of camouflage to keep those eggs safe. But the lemon-breasted canary, just here's my pen, has this incredibly unique nest, and it looks very much like this. So you can see the palm leaves would actually fold around, and they would build a nest of grass and lay their eggs right in the middle there. So that is why we stopped and had a look at this very special tree. I did a little bit of investigating. No nests that I could find, unfortunately, but it's always worth a look when you go and have a look at these Lala palms. I'm sure you've seen them all over before, these Lala palms, because they are what is responsible for those beautiful woven baskets and bags that we find in many of our African craft stores. And also one of the reasons you often don't see incredibly tall Lala palm trees. You know, they are sort of harvested for their leaves, those long, thin sort of segments. You can imagine how lovely those are to weave together. And if you have a look even at the dead ones, you can see that they've retained their structure really well. They haven't sort of disintegrated, so they're really useful for making sort of arts and crafts. So that is one of the uses of the Lala palm. They're also used to make beer, if you can believe it. There's an African sort of beer that's made from the Lala palms, which I've yet to taste, but I'm sure it's really good. And while we're looking here, I can actually see that there's a nest of some other sort of animal. If you look at that dead section right in the middle, it's a trunk that's completely covered in this red sandy soil. And the reason it's so red is if we look at the soil around it, it's very red in color, which makes us know that this soil is rich in iron oxide. That's what gives it that reddy tinge. And that would be a termite's nest. They've actually made their nest all the way up into the middle of that tree. You can see how it's caked completely in mud, and there's a whole lot of holes in it. It's quite an interesting one, you know, not to have a mound, but actually use the outer layer of that tree to sort of safeguard their mud structure. And also they'll be able to feed on the inside in the meantime. But you can see it's quite old, it's broken open. You can see the little tunnels, those little openings right there. So it's not a recent termite mound. You know, that would obviously be something that's been repaired. Chantal, sometimes trees have bad hair days too. I think this one in particular, you can see it's right out in the open. It's, you know, that one's it's quite dead, so it's been fed off of and used as a structure of some sorts. And the rest of them also been through the works, and it's a really cool comment actually, because now we're looking at the leaves and things, and you can actually see how they've been ripped off. Now all I can imagine is that an elephant would have done that. I've never actually seen an elephant feed on Lala palms before, but I'm just looking at the height of how those leaves have been chopped off, and all I can think of is elephant. I can't think of anything else that would get up there.